Hey guys, Dr. Ben here, F8 Well Centers. Welcome. Let's go over today exactly why you need to be stabilizing your blood sugar. I'm not talking about preventing diabetes or prediabetes or any of these other conditions that we know come about from a high blood sugar state. I'm talking about physiological, health-related reasons to keep your blood sugar as steady as possible. That's why I wrote my book, Blood Sugar Doesn't Lie, to tell you exactly what to do. And you can grab this one on Amazon. I love getting this information out there. We have for years used finger prick glucose monitoring, had people poke their fingers 6-8 times a day, every day, figure out why it's going up, why it's going down. Now we use continuous glucose monitor. It was a Dexcom G6. Now they're coming out with a Dexcom G7, which is even smaller. It's like the size of a quarter, stacked up, two of them together. Very small, and yet it's the most accurate way to get consistent blood sugar information. So I'm going to go over today the top 5 reasons why you need to stabilize your blood sugar. And again, it's not just, I don't want to become diabetic like grandma was. That's great. We don't want diabetes, absolutely. A lot of long-term damage can come about from that. But even still, diabetes is just a term. It's a catchphrase. It's a, hey, you're in this high blood sugar state. Hey, thanks for the share there, Silas. Go ahead and put down below where you guys are watching from. Love to give you a shout out. And here, if you are tracking your blood sugar at all, because this is such an important thing. I always say, if we could stabilize everybody's blood sugar 85 to 110 every day, all day long, we would reverse or prevent 90% of chronic conditions. It is that prevalent, that major of a thing that causes damage in the body, and you've got to be able to stabilize those. So I even did a 5-part blood sugar masterclass, and if you would like access to that one, put your information down below, let us know, and we will get you access to that 5-part blood sugar masterclass series where I go in depth. If you like what you're hearing today, this is 5 hours of information, and it will just give you so much. So let's get into it. Why you need to stabilize your blood sugar. Number 1 is for your adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are our stress glands. They are these little glands. They sit on top of the kidneys, adrenal, on top of the renals, the kidneys, and they are going to respond to stress of all different types. So what would that look like? Stress could be jobs and cars and kids and COVID and presidents and gas prices and whatever you want to stress about. That is something that you could stress about day in and day out. But here's the deal. Number 1 stressor to the adrenals is actually blood sugar dips. Yes, the spikes are stressful, but it's actually the lows that are the most stressful. So what does that look like? That looks like a hangry state, a low blood sugar, a hypoglycemia, this crash, and then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm spacey, I'm hungry, I need a little Snickers bar, whatever it is. But that is actually going to drive the adrenals to tell the liver to kick out stored glucose, and that's what happens physiologically every time your blood sugar goes too low. So how important is it to stabilize that blood sugar for your adrenals? Absolutely, you've got to get that as stabilized as possible. Then we get into number 2 is going to be for the brain, to preserve the brain and nourish the brain. Here's what happens when your blood sugar is high, when your insulin is high, you're creating this damage to nerve tissues, and the brain is one of the biggest nerve bundles in the body. And here's the deal. They call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes now, because that blood sugar, as it goes up too high, that is going to be a huge cause of damage to the brain. And ultimately, if somebody has high blood sugar and they live long enough, they will get Alzheimer's. It's going to start damaging that brain and start causing neurological deficit, especially if you have APOE4, which is the Alzheimer's gene. 25% of the population have that gene. And if you have that one, you do not repair your brain as well as you should. So what do you need to do? You need to keep that blood sugar steady. You need to prevent it from spiking up. Even if you are not diabetic, in the A1C diabetes range, it may be because you're spiking up, crashing down, spiking up, crashing down, and your average average is staying good, but those spikes are still there. Number 3 is going to be autoimmune. So if your blood sugar is spiking up and crashing down and you have an autoimmune condition, every time that happens, that drives this immune inflammatory cascade, and it's going to cause more damage. If you have Hashimoto's, you've got to keep your blood sugar stabilized. Otherwise, every time it spikes up, every time it crashes down, it is going to destroy more tissue. If you have MS, alopecia, any lupus, Sjogren's, all these different autoimmune, 190 named autoimmune conditions out there, third leading cause of death when you lump them all together. Why would you lump them all together? Because it's the same underlying thought process of what's driving this autoimmune reaction. So you've got to keep that blood sugar, not just from being diabetic, but you've got to keep it steady. I would rather somebody be 110 to 120, a little bit high all day long, than this high, low, high, low, high, low that happens in so many people. Number 4 is going to be neuropathy. And neuropathy, just like the nerve bundle in the brain, the nerves can damage in our hands and feet. So neuropathy of the feet, neuropathy of the hands, these are going to ultimately lead to people start losing toes, feet, legs, they have limbs amputated, and it is because of this damage from having that high blood sugar and those blood sugar swings all the time. So neuropathy, then you start even being able to not feel your feet like you're supposed to, and then you're like, oh, which pedal is which, and you can't even drive anymore. Major detrimental effects from that neuropathy that starts happening from this blood sugar going up high. So again, these 5 reasons why you need to stabilize your blood sugar right now so that you can live that best life yet. And then number 5 is going to be inflammation. And this, you can kind of look at this with any and all conditions out there, but inflammation is the driving risk factor for so many different health conditions. And it's a huge part of what is going on. When we're talking about inflammation, it's not just, oh, my joint is inflamed. We're talking about at the cellular level, your cells, your blood vessels, your heart, your brain, all these different areas are inflamed, and you've got to get that inflammation down. And one of the number one things that drives this inflammatory process are blood sugar spikes, are those blood sugar imbalances. So what do you need to do? You need to go in and stabilize that blood sugar and then start working on what is causing that in the first place. So what is causing the effects onto that inflammatory process? The blood sugar swings is one of the biggest things that can do that. So you've got to keep that blood sugar steady. When we're talking inflammation, we're talking about cardiovascular disease, we're talking about strokes, we're talking about any type of condition in the digestive tract. So many things in the body that when it goes haywire, it is inflammation based, and you've got to get those stabilized. So, here's the deal, guys. It's going to take time, it's going to take energy, but you can do it. You can stabilize that blood sugar. If you need help with this and you want more information, put your email down below, let us know, and we will get over the 5-part blood sugar masterclass for you guys. You can, and that's free. You can look through that, learn as much as you possibly can. Grab my book on Amazon. Brittany will put a link down below for that. That can make a huge difference. And then we just have to start moving our feet, just like Sherry asked. I take CMOS. Is that good for blood sugar stability? So CMOS, you can take berberine, you can look at cinnamon, all these things. That's great. You can take some of those things, but it is not going to stabilize your blood sugar. If you're eating and drinking things that are not appropriate for your body and not appropriate for your blood sugar, and that's what we found, is that blood sugar swings are going to be all over the place, especially if you are not doing what you need to be doing. So your spouse might be able to do sweet potato, but you might not be able to do sweet potato. And there's no amount of CMOS that is going to fix that. Sure, if you eat some lemon bars and you've had some CMOS, maybe it doesn't spike up as much, or some berberine or some cinnamon, but that's not going to fix it. You've got to start learning why. And that's where finger prick glucose monitoring, the continuous glucose monitor, that's where those come into play. And then you start truly understanding what to eat and what not to eat, what to drink and what not to drink. So CMOS, sure, it's going to be helpful, and especially if you're figuring all those things out and really putting the time and energy in and just want a little bit more support there, berberine's going to be good, cinnamon's going to be good, but until you actually figure out which foods you need to be doing, which drinks you need to be doing and not doing, you're not going to get it fixed. So same thing with the Ozempic or the Wegovy or any of these new drugs, which we're actually now seeing a lot of stress on follow-up liver panels if people are taking those. So we know that you've got to stabilize that blood sugar by what you're putting into your body, not by any type of a drug or supplement or anything else. So thanks for jumping on, guys. Love getting this information out there. This is an absolute game changer. If you can stabilize your blood sugar, you can reverse or prevent upwards of 90% of chronic health conditions, and you can live the life that you want. If you need help, if you need support, click that link down below, schedule a discovery call, and let's talk about what you have going on and how you can get your life back. Have a great day, guys.